Hi, I'm Ina Hammer, and I am a men's emotional health coach with Iconic Man Mastery. I'm here on the Prosperity Show to share a little bit about what I do and how I help men with their emotional health. It can be going through divorce or having relationship issues, help with dating, help with loneliness, help with confidence, anything at all, really.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taurowinga, and today we're diving deep into resilience, transformation, and a good dose of reality. See, my guest is none other than Ina. Now, Ina, how are you doing today?
Hi, Prosper. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Very good. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. I
Yeah.
know we've been trying to get you on the show for quite a while now, and obviously time differences and time delays, but we finally got you on here. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for that.
My pleasure.
Now, for those that are meeting Ina for the very first time, she's the founder and CEO of Iconic Men Mastery, a consultant
Yep.
who specializes in helping men overcome the emotional roller coaster of divorce, realign their confidence, and step back into the dating world with style and swagger. Now, Ina's story, for those that are going to be watching through to the end, and I really encourage you to do so, isn't just about her professional accomplishments. I mean, obviously, she's got those, but it's a real life roller coaster of love, loss, betrayal, and rediscovery. Now, imagine being married to somebody you think is, your soulmate, only to discover that they've been living a double life. They're probably a professional by day, but a heroin addict with a dark past by night. And Ina has just transformed this deeply personal experience into her mission to now help men reset and rebuild their lives. Now, from what I heard so far, it's powerful, it's personal, and trust me, you won't want to miss what she's about to say about transformation and empowerment. So let's just dive into her work with men, her methods, and why anybody going through any of these tough breakups or experiences would really need to contact Ina and start working with her. And there's also an interesting fact about Ina. She's actually lived in 7 countries. She speaks multiple languages and she speaks and speaks. We're gonna have fun today with her. She's also a Reiki master. So we're talking about somebody who brings world-class wisdom to the table. And I just want you to stick around so you can learn how she helps men not just survive, but thrive post-divorce and things of that nature. Now, Ina, I could go on and on, talk about everything
Oh,
else,
thank
but
you.
that's not the whole point of having you on the show. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
Oh, well, it started obviously quite a while ago. I'm Norwegian, so yeah, I was born and raised in Norway, but I left Norway when I was 22 because Norway was a little too small for me. I needed to get out there and explore the world and see a bit more. So yeah, where that took me first to London, where I spent 12 years, and I was only going there for 6 months, but it turned into 12 years and 3 kids. And then we got to Singapore, and we were here for 5 years, and then we went to the British Virgin Islands, and then again to the Cayman Islands, and then back to Singapore, and that's when things kind of went a bit pear-shaped in the old marriage after 23 years. So, and then I met someone else, and got remarried, and then I lived in Thailand for a little while, and then back to Singapore, and then we moved to Bali and lived there for 4 years, and then back to Singapore again. And I'm actually about to leave Singapore probably and go to an eighth country. I'm not really revealing that one. It's not too sure yet. So,
Absolutely.
yes. So
Fantastic, fantastic, and thank you so much for sharing
yeah,
that. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
we'll leave the eighth wonder of the world to
yeah.
us, and things of that nature. But you obviously started off your journey, like you said, in Norway, where you were born, and Norway became small. What was life like growing up for you?
In Norway, I'm cold, obviously. Yeah, I think I was kind of born in the wrong country. I'm too extrovert for Norwegians, and I never really quite fitted in there. So I think I always knew as a young girl that I wouldn't be living my life in Norway. I always had the travel bug, and I always wanted to get out. So yeah, so it's been actually 37 years since I lived in Norway now. So I've been way more out than in. And yeah, and yeah, I can't see myself ever going back really. It's a beautiful country and everything, but just I just don't quite fit in there, you know.
But
Yeah,
what's there not to love in Norway? There's the, what do they call them? The Aurora Borealis. There's the Vikings. You know, there's a whole skiing culture going on there. The cuisine is
yeah.
to die
But
for.
I love the tropics. I love being warm. I just love the tropics. That's why Southeast Asia is like it's my nirvana because I'm it's sunshine and hot every day. I love that. So yeah, no, it was it just isn't quite the right place for me. You know, it is beautiful and lovely in so many ways. So just not where I feel at home. You know,
Mm.
so.
I mean,
So
obviously,
yeah, so
when somebody decides to travel and go abroad and be more, do more, and everything else. That's obviously a sign of bravery. But what was the inspiration? Were there other people that you probably looked up to, or did family try and hold you back, or what?
no, they did not at all. Actually, they're great. They're still not trying to get me back or anything. And no, I think it was. I grew up in a small town with about 27,000 inhabitants, and when I was 15, I had this strange thing that happened to me. I got spotted, and I had the main part in a Norwegian TV film. And whilst this was fantastic, and it suited me very well, I was so excited and everything. It kind of it wasn't easy to be a 15-year-old, normal 15-year-old in a small town to suddenly become kind of famous, and there was a lot of jealousy around that, and yeah, it kind of it was very difficult for me to live there. So I kind of ran away 3 years later when I was 18. I was like, get me out of here, yeah. I just needed a bigger world, it was very small minded and small world over there. So yeah, I love people, and I'm such an extrovert, and I just love meeting new people. And in my hometown, everybody knew me, I knew everybody, kind of thing. And yeah, it's just not enough.
Great stuff. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
took off and
I took off when I was 18. I went over to the UK and just loved it. I got on so well with Brits, and then I got back to Norway, and then I went to France, stayed there, and learned a bit of French for 7 months, and then eventually got back into the UK, and then stayed there for 12 years.
Absolutely.
So and
In that 12 years, you did say there was three children involved
yeah,
in that time. Tell us about that, Jen.
yeah. Well, so it wasn't exactly number one wasn't exactly planned, but she's 35 today, and she has two beautiful little kids. So I'm a Mimi. I don't call myself a granny or a nana. I'm a Mimi. So she lives in Sydney, and then I have two boys. One is in the UK and one's in the Cayman Islands. So me and my kids, we are on 4 continents.
Wow, what's
As
Christmas
you do.
like?
Yeah, tricky. Very difficult. I'm lucky if I get to spend it with one of them, kind of thing. Yeah, it's difficult.
Is that by design, or it's just
No, it's just so difficult, with being so far apart from each other, and so it's just so difficult. Yeah, but of course we stay close, and I'm very close to them, and yeah, so that's what you get living in an expat life, and then that's kind of what can happen.
absolutely.
But yeah,
After
so
that
we
12
can
years, you made Singapore your
yeah. Yes, my then husband got a transfer to Singapore because by then I was quite desperate to get out of the UK, and wanting to live in somewhere where it's a beautiful, warm. And yeah, we came to Singapore. Honestly, I thought I'd died and come to heaven. It was like, wow, it was Disney World. It was fantastic. Then yeah, we had so much fun. It was great life, really great life here. Yeah.
great
It's
stuff.
changed a bit now, but it's yeah.
And you were there for 5 years, and then went to the British
5 years,
Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands. Yeah. Then that was quite a shock, because after Singapore, that was that was a big shock. But yeah, so we weren't there for all that long, about 18 months, and then we went on to the Cayman Islands. So my ex-husband was a lawyer, so he was a offshore lawyer. And so we were there for about 2.5 years or something. And then they opened up the Singapore office. So we came back to Singapore, and I was like, yes. So yeah, I love Singapore. So.
How are you like meeting new people? Because each time you're moving, it's like a whole new start. It's like a whole new friend group. It's like a whole new lifestyle.
Yes, for most, that is something that a lot of expats struggle with. But that's not a struggle of mine, because I'm so excited when I meet new people. I just love meeting new people, and I connect quite well with people quite fast. And so for me, it's more exciting, actually. I like changes. I find change exciting. I don't like to be stagnant, and so can you imagine all the amount of people and fabulous people I met over the years? It's been great. It's so great. I love being in an expat. I'm not sure I'd even fit into a Western society anymore, actually.
Absolutely, because most of the places you've lived in, Thailand and Bali, are like tourist resort places. So even if you are in some sort of environment, you still get to meet people maybe from your own country.
Yeah. And the great thing is, being an expat, is that we're kind of all in the same boat, and so we making friends is really easy. People are very open to make new friends, because we know how transient it is. People come and go, and So my thing when I first came to Singapore, I realized how transient it is. I thought, right, never ever stop making friends. So I always, if I meet somebody I like, I always, make sure that I follow up, and yeah. So I always have a big network, and lots of friends, and now I've ended up with friends all over the world. So it's great.
Absolutely, so cosmopolitan you are. But you see, the thing that drew me to you was your Trouble in Paradise story, where your personal story is both heartbreaking and also inspiring. all at the same time.
Yeah. Thank
How
you.
did
Yeah.
your own
Trouble
experience?
in paradise, indeed. Yes, absolutely. Um, um, when my first husband and I separated, about 15 months later, I met someone who was a drug addict in recovery. He had spent 26 years in the UK, and he was back in Singapore, and he was uh, he was only 11 months clean and sober, and he was a frightened soul, very, and but I just thought he was the most amazing, emotionally intelligent man I've ever met. And I do have, or used to have, a bit of that sort of rescue thing in me, wanting to rescue. But I also saw how incredibly brilliant he could be, because he's highly intelligent. Um, and we began a relationship, and of course, in the first few years, I was always a little worried about the relapse, but I was also incredibly naive, because I've never ever dealt with addictions and never really been around drugs, or never had addiction, anyone in my family or anywhere around me. So I was very naive when it came to I tried to learn. I mean, I went with him to lots of NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous meetings, because I wanted to learn as much as possible. And I guess I thought I had a good understanding of it all. So we moved to Bali, because that was his dream, and I just wanted him to have a happy life, because he'd had such a miserable childhood and life up until then. So I just, I made the classic mistake of kind of erasing my own needs and just wanted him to. Everything was about him. He also retrained whilst we were together, to become a psychologist, because he was actually a doctor. He was a doctor who became an addict in the UK. He in his junior year, he got caught shooting himself up with morphine in a hospital room. This is not a secret, because it's actually in a book, so it's not a secret. I'm not telling a secret. So obviously he got suspended, and then followed 9 years of drug addiction, which eventually had him on the streets of London with a medical degree. So he was a brilliant man, and then he became a psychologist and a trauma specialist, and he was brilliant, and he was getting fantastic results with people, helping people with their traumas, and all was great. We were in Bali. We had, so for 7 years we were very happy, and there was a lot of love and everything, and then he had a relapse, and unfortunately that was sort of on and off for the next 4 years, and of course, addiction is always progressive, and he just became worse and worse, and the aggression and the psychotic, and it was I had to save myself in the end. I had to self-preserve. It was very, very painful, and by then it was so gradual and insidious, and it took me even a year to realize he had relapsed. Well, I probably saw it, but how when you see things but you don't want to see it, until I caught him red-handed one day and couldn't deny it any longer. But they are, they are very clever with their deceits and lies and everything. And manipulation. It was very bad in the end. In the last year, it was very, very painful, and eventually something, I realized something, some thoughts he had that were so dark and so dangerous that I realized I was married to a monster, and I had to flee, basically.
Mm.
So,
No, all of
so
this.
yeah, it's been a tough one.
And
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, all of this is happening. You're obviously on your own. You're far away from home and not around people that could obviously be able to support you while all of this is happening.
Um, I do have amazing friends. I do have a beautiful girlfriend tribe. Very, very fortunate. So I have actually had a lot of support. I don't know what I would do without them, really. So
Mm.
yeah,
So you're
and my family as well. Right?
fantastic. And how have these experiences of betrayal and obviously this emotional abuse you're talking about shaped the work that you're doing now?
Well, obviously, I'm a lot more. I'm a less naive, but I'm actually a very trusting person. So it's like I still trust people. I would, uh, how does it shape? Well, I feel that I have a good understanding of psychology. I've been studying psychology like on my own for the last 20 years anyway, and I got a diploma in counselling psychology as well as NLP practitioner, and I'm always reading about psychology. So, and I've always had a knack of understanding what goes on in other people's minds, like empathize. So that helps, obviously.
Mm. And
Yeah,
fantastic. And you mentioned that, throughout all of this, you had, your girlfriends and people that were supporting you, had
yeah,
some
yeah,
sort of support network. But
oh
men
yeah,
usually often have tough times seeking out this sort of help, especially when it comes to emotional recovery and things of that nature. How do you then help people to build trust and rapport, especially with your clients, to create a space for them to trust?
exactly. I think my own experience of having such immense support from my girlfriends um, made me think: how do lonely people go through this? How do people who don't have anyone or who find it really hard to voice? I don't, I've always got someone to talk to. At any given time I would have, if I need to reach out to someone, I always have someone I can reach out to, and who will, will be received lovingly. But I recognize that this is by far not the case for everybody, and maybe even more so men. Um, and my heart breaks for them, actually, and so that's why I decided to concentrate on helping men, instead of so many people say to me, oh, but why don't you work? But women will say to me, why don't you work with women? So I love women, and I connect really well and easily with women. That it's far easier to work with women, but I recognize men today need help. They need not help, as in they're not getting quite the what ladies get. They also need someone to talk to, and so when I do have my sessions with men, they tend to open up really well to me, and they say things like, "Oh my God, I've never opened up to anyone like this. I never told anyone this." So that which is nice, because then it means that I am helping in somehow, and that they feel that they feel they can trust me, that that they can open up to me. So that's nice. And so I want to help them move forward. You know, maybe especially men who's going through divorce or feeling stuck after divorce. You know, there's a lot of people who they get divorced and then they stay stuck in their anger and bitterness and resentment, you know, for maybe years. And I feel like that's such a shame, because like, what a waste, you know, what a waste of time. You can actually, there are, you know, with the right mindset shifts and tools and that, you can move on quite quickly. Like I did both times. I decided I'm not staying stuck in this. And I also believe that, might be a bit controversial, but love is a choice. Because we are actually in control of our thoughts, you know? But like, you can, you know, train yourself to say, I will now choose to love you no more. You know, it is possible. And if you can do that, then it's easier to move on. So yeah, both times I've picked myself up pretty fast and not stayed stuck in, of course I've had my hard times, and you know, I am not minimizing the pain of it all, because it is painful. Divorce is horrific. You know, and there's rarely such a thing as a pretty divorce, is there, you know?
So in your opinion, what are some of the most misunderstood aspects of this, of, you know, like divorce recovery, for men especially, because it does seem like they're the ones that just keep stuck in reverse and not quite sure how they can move forward.
Men, my impression, I am not saying this is the truth for everyone, but it feels to me that men are often very angry. They get angry. So they unleash a lot of anger onto their ex-partner. You know, I help with trying not to do that, you know, because there's often children involved, right? So if you can possibly keep it as nice as possible, you know, like, and I mean, after all, you were once two people who loved each other, you know, and try to not have so much resentment and stay in resentment, because resentment is, it's like poison you give yourself, you know. It's staying stuck in resentment. Where does that get you? Just being angry, that doesn't get you anywhere, you know. You have to learn to let go. Just let go. It's done. It's done. The marriage is over. It's done. And let's, you know, find a way to move on. You know, don't look back, because you're not going that way. You know, look forward. So that's what a lot of coaching is about. It's about going forward. It's not about looking back so much, and not harp so much on about the past. Yeah.
And also, obviously, a lot of that might stem from either fear or feelings of being rejected, and maybe people think I'm never going to get back my time that I, you know, spent.
Yeah.
Sort of person.
So it's about arriving at acceptance. You know, maybe I was treated badly, sure, but it was what it was. Can't change it now. So, you know, let's look forward now and you know, don't make the same mistakes and create something better. Get out there and enjoy life, you know. But it does take work. It does take work, but it's a lot about letting go, just letting go, you know. So and not stay stuck in any hate or anything, because you all you're doing is hurting yourself on that. With that, I don't hate my ex.
Absolutely. See, from what you're saying,
there might be a bit of pity in there, but do I hate him? Nah. I'm not doing that to myself. I don't want to be hating him, because that just hurts me, you know.
I mean, from what
Yeah.
you're saying, there needs to be some sort of mindset transformation because
Oh, of course.
I think you mentioned
And
that.
willingness.
Mm,
Willingness. Now, that's where men can be a bit tricky, right? It's like they can be a bit stubborn. It's like, because you got to be willing to let go,
mm.
and and let go of the anger, and it's not a healthy emotion to hold on to. Resentment is it's one of the worst things you can hold on to, really.
I think
So
I think a lot of men could learn from 5-year-old girls. You know, they all love Frozen. Every time I walk past my little girl's room, she's playing "Let It
let
Go,
it go.
Let It Go."
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
know
but there is something in that.
yeah, I know you're a firm believer in this mindset transformation because you said you can choose to not love somebody, and that is a choice
Yeah,
decision. And usually men respond to having to make decisions, and that's just how we're wired. Can you maybe share a
yeah.
practical strategy that you use with your clients to help them shift from this? And it's usually self-doubt or, so that they actually get the confidence to make that decision that, you know what, I'm literally gonna move forward from this.
Yeah. Well, self-talk is a big one. How we speak to ourselves, and if you constantly tell yourself negative things, goes round and round like a broken record in your head, that becomes your truth. So what you say to yourself is, if you over and over and over, it becomes your truth. So be mindful of what you tell yourself. I mean, I used to have terrible self-talk when I was younger. And I used to tell myself all kinds of awful things that I would never say to myself now. I would never even think it now, because it's absolutely detrimental. You don't go around telling yourself or others that you're a loser. Don't you have these thoughts? Push them away. Train yourself to not have thoughts like that. You know, think of no, I'm a good person. I can do this, that, and the other, and you know. But a lot of people, they pull themselves down. They talk to themselves in ways they would never talk to another person or a friend. They would never say these things to a friend, because that friend will then walk for sure. But yet people tell themselves all these dreadful, sad things. So self-talk is something I teach, and how not to, and how to get rid of that, and talk to yourself in a good way. And
Right.
it does work, actually. It does work, yeah.
I'm just speaking
So
from an understanding of how this actually works. But when a man goes through like a divorce or a separation or things of that nature, there's a lot of resentment, like you said. There's a lot of
mm,
anger and
on both sides.
yeah, and that rejection. And you've also said you feel pity for them, and nobody wants to be felt pity for. But for people to move on, they have to maybe start dating or seeing other people. But so many people are driving a Ferrari with the handbrake on, especially when it comes to dating after divorce. What are some of the biggest mistakes that men are making when they're re-entering the dating scene, and how are you sort of helping them with these pitfalls?
Well, I'll have to start with their profiles on the dating apps.
What do they look like?
Oh my god, dear, oh dear. There's some shockers. I would say they are rarely good. They often they don't put good pictures, or they might put like one picture, and then they might put pictures of a landscape or a fish or a plate of food. Well, nobody wants to see that. you know when you're looking at a profile, you want to see as much as possible of the actual person, right? um or they masks, or they the classic, they take a selfie with the angle, like way down there. So even if you don't have a double chin, you get one. If you take a picture like that. And and the gym selfies. Literally all of them do gym selfies or lift selfies or bathroom selfies. Get a friend to take some snaps and pics. It's easy with the cameras are so good these days. Have a full length, at least one full length, and have some proper close-ups, and actually write some compelling things on the profile instead. That I've had so many laughs going through these profiles. So I help with that as well, actually, and and personal styling as well. Because some of them need that, and I can help with making their profiles and enticing. And the more information you give and more you show over yourself, the higher the chances of actually getting swipe right. Because like I told you earlier, on the dating apps, men, they swipe right on 60% of the women, and women swipe right on 5%. So men don't get the amount of likes and things that women do. So yes, it's important to have a good profile. And 60% of people these days, of couples, they actually meet via the apps these days. I think everyone loves to hate the apps, but they do serve a purpose by the looks of it. So yeah.
From what you're saying,
dating is hard.
From what you're saying, it does sound like there's a global epidemic of loneliness for men. Then if they're doing
there is
like 60%, what was the percentage? 60% of all the swipes that come their way, and only 5 are being, that a woman.
Only 5% of women, yeah. And then so then so the top 10% of men get all the swipes, basically. So it's really it's really unfair, isn't it? So that's why it's so important to have a really good profile. Stand out a bit and actually say something profound and interesting and more funny, or but yeah, but dating is hard, and of course people often have pictures that aren't really what they look like, or they might be very old, or so then of course people turn up to a date and they can feel a bit conned, like false advertising kind of thing.
Like a bait speech, you clicked on an ad and it's not exactly what they're selling, so it's like
exactly. So yeah, so that happens a lot, I think. And if I was going to go on a date, which I have, I will just go with the attitude of just go and have a nice evening, meet somebody new, and just go have a nice evening. I have zero expectations, and therefore, the dates that I've been on, I've had lovely times. I've had some pretty, not so great ones or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like I just go and hey, maybe I make a new friend, or I'll just have a nice evening conversation. And if there's no spark, doesn't matter to me. I'm just like, yeah, just lovely meeting you, and and just have no expectations. But I think that people have a lot of expectations. I have girlfriends who are just like, oh, they get so uptight about the whole thing. I never do. I'm never nervous if I'm gonna go on the date. I'm never nervous. I just go, just gonna meet someone, see how that goes. Yeah, have a drink, whatever, and if I have a nice chat, and that's all great. Doesn't have to lead to anything else for me. But I'm different. But
how do you separate? How do you separate dating and like what you have mentioned earlier on, that you tend to have the rescuing tendencies, especially when it comes to people. Does that present a challenge for you when you're?
No, no, because I've learned my boundaries now. um, so I've been doing charity work for, gosh, more than 20 years. And so I've had to realize that I clearly have some kind of a liking to rescue people, like my friends will often say to me, "Oh, you're always letting people stay at your house, and because I like helping people, I enjoy that, and I just think, no, why not? If I can, why not, kind of thing." But I've had to get a bit more boundaried around all of that, so I'm not rescuing anymore. I will still help and all this, but I'm not going to go in and rescue and compromise myself anymore. So that's what I've learned.
Absolutely. I mean,
I do that a lot. Yeah.
in life, we're here to live, to learn, and to contribute. In
Yeah. Yeah.
any sense, in order for you to live the best
Yeah.
life, you need to have learned the lessons. And once you've
Yeah.
learned the lessons, obviously you put them in a nice little bowl, send them down so that other people won't
Yeah.
have to go through those things. But also, amongst the things that you've
Yeah.
learned, it's not just a personal side of things. You now blend counseling, NLP, and Reiki in your work. Now, how do these disciplines actually work together in your support for men as you coach them?
Well, there's NLP has lots of good sort of physical methods that you can use, which is great. And look, I have my own style. Uh, how do I explain it? Even, like, I don't know. But I do help these guys to come to a better place in life, and feeling more optimistic with the future, and yeah, getting them out of a rut, basically, as well. That's what we work on.
But
So it's all, it depends on the individual, right? So
absolutely,
what they need. It depends on what they need. So I
you
usually do like a package of 12 sessions, and then they will have some WhatsApp contact, and
now
yeah.
a lot of the people that you help are men, and men really find it difficult to get into their feelings and feel things, or maybe explain them to somebody else. Now, just in case we've got a viewer who's watching this right now and they're on the fence about seeking help,
Yeah.
what would you maybe suggest to them, and why would now be the best time for them to actually take a step into investing in their own personal growth?
Because it's so worthwhile, because you don't have to suffer alone, like that. I find that so painful to know that so many people are suffering on their own in silence. And I've had so many men say to me that how relieved they feel having opened up to me, and when they say, "Oh my God, I've never opened up to anyone as much as I have opened up to you," and they all seem very surprised that, like, "Oh my God, I've been telling you all these things," and yeah, I think I make them feel safe, and that's very, very important, and that they feel safe with me. And that there's no judgment. I don't judge. I'm very understanding and empathetic, and I listen. So it always helps to share, to not be alone, and I will also give them a lot of practical tips for how to go out there and make some friends, because some of them don't have any friends, and we need our tribe, friends are important. I'm actually also just become involved in something called the Blue Flag Initiative, which was set up by a friend of mine called Harley in Perth. And we're going to take this like into a bigger sort of movement. And that is for men to come together and talk, you know. So yeah, we're hoping that that's going to grow. That's just a you know, as a free thing, you know. But we're hoping to get a few ambassadors around the world, and for men to come together and share.
Absolutely. And for those that are interested in your actual services, where can they find you, and how can they get started on their journey to recovery and growth?
My my website. Oh yes, it's coming. It's done. I just got to tweak it a little bit. But basically, I am called. I've called my company Iconic Man Mastery, because I want to help encourage guys to be iconic, and I think guys, they do want to be iconic. So, my website isn't actually up right now, but they can. I can give you my LinkedIn, for instance. LinkedIn is a great one. They can find me on LinkedIn if they want to. Under my name, yeah.
Fantastic. And I'll definitely.
I will get my social media stuff sorted out. I'm just it's just not quite my forte yet, but I'm about to get some help with that.
Absolutely. No, I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes,
thank you.
that people can actually follow you and get started.
Yes, anyone's welcome to get in touch. I mean, I'm always happy to work with women as well, of course, but I just Iconic Man Mastery is sort of for men. But if there are women who want to get in touch with me, absolutely most welcome. So.
Fantastic. No, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call today.
Aww.
You know, but it would be remiss of me to not ask. You know, when we started the show, you introduced us to a 15-year-old girl who just recently became famous, and little did she know that the world was just going to open up in ways that have just exploded right now. If you would have had an opportunity to maybe meet that girl at the time that you're at right now, or she could be watching this video right now, what sort of words would you let her know about how things are going to unfold?
Well, I would definitely teach her not to worry about what other people think of you. I was consumed with, all these awful things people were saying about me out of jealousy, especially the girls. This was back in sort of around 1980, 81. And there was so much jealousy, because basically I did something nobody else had ever done in my hometown. I mean, in Australia, they call it the tall poppy syndrome, right? So I stuck my neck out. That was not allowed. You did not do that. So had it been now, I would have gone, whatever, but back then it was very hard to handle for a 15-year-old girl. And, it did have a huge impact on me, and made me kind of flee from that town as soon as I was old enough, really, But later on, I did something quite fun in the UK. I was on UK's first cable TV. It was called Live TV. It was basically tabloid TV. It was owned by the Daily Mirror. And I did something funny there called The Weather in Norwegian. So I was a weather girl. And then I got pregnant with my third child, and then we did this whole sort of thing about the pregnancy, and making competitions, and even pretended to go into labor on set and everything. It was hilarious. It was just hilarious. It was very funny stuff. And I've done some acting about being in theatre plays, and I haven't done any for a while. I'd love to though. love to get back into TV a bit, but I
Absolutely.
don't.
Well,
Mm.
it's a good thing. Had I noticed I was speaking to a celebrity, I would have been shaking in my
Oh,
boots. But obviously, you're
stop
humble.
it!
You're too humble to
Celeb.
not even mention any of that. So I really
No,
appreciate.
I don't think I'm a celebrity. I just had like a tiny little bit of it years ago now. Anyway, I haven't been on stage for about 12 years actually. So
Mm,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for the time that we've
Oh,
spent
this is great fun. This is really good fun. Thank you so much.
on the
Yeah,
call.
awesome.
You also hinted on moving to the eighth country. I'm not going to ask what that eighth country is, but what's next? What can people actually anticipate from you moving forward? Because you've just ignited their senses, ignited
Mm,
excitement about you. Now they want to know what to look forward to that you're working on.
okay. Well, I'm going to stay within Southeast Asia. I'm not ready to leave yet. And then I'm going to go there and you know, because my consultancy work is everyone does it over Zoom these days anyway, so I can be anywhere, which is, you know, amazing. Um, I'm going to go there and I'm going to start painting again because I'm an artist and haven't had a chance to paint for the last couple of years. I just brought all my paint and artwork stuff back from Bali. So I still have a villa in Bali, so I went and collected that when I was over just now. And then I'm going to paint and I'm going to do my consultancy and coaching and travel a bit. And yeah, just it's a lovely life, quite a nice little life actually.
Fantastic. Wow.
And yeah, and then we'll see. Then we'll see what happens, what develops. You know, so like you know, I always think to myself, I don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step.
The first
You
step.
know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've
Wow.
had so many years in Singapore now, so I think I kind of feel a little bit. I want to change. So yeah,
Wow. Wow.
and yeah, and also I kind of miss the little bit more sort of third world. You know, like you know, Bali was very, you know, it's quite messy and grimy, and you know, and all that, and coming back to Singapore for the first time ever, I kind of felt that, gosh, he is actually quite clinical and sterile. You know, I've never really known what people were talking about when they used to say that, but now I can see it. So yeah.
Fantastic. And that's a
All
wrap.
right.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you so much. That was great. What fun.
absolutely. I mean, you shared not only your expertise but also your incredible personal story, and I think we can all agree that the resilience that you've shown is nothing short of inspiring. So many
Oh,
people can learn from that. I mean, your life story,
mm,
experience have so much value for a lot of people that are watching, whether male or female, that could pick a thing or two from what you have done and
right.
reinvented yourself. I'm pretty much going to call you Madonna. I mean, obviously every year there's something new, something different that you're working on, and it's just a whole different
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I only shared obviously a tiny bit about the
you've
bad
worked on
stuff, but
TV.
there's a lot on it. No, but
I know you.
about the painful stuff. I mean, there was
That's
obviously a whole lot more to it than that. But I
that's all
think
right.
yeah,
That's all
it
right.
doesn't.
You've
Yeah,
worked on
I just shared a
TV.
tiny bit.
You've worked on TV, Ina, and then that's when they say that's a wrap. We're running out of tape.
Yeah.
We could, we could get it all
Oh,
done. But for those that are
yeah.
watching right now, you see, if you are going through divorce recovery or relationship for poor, I think the iconic man mastery is your first port of call. Just reach out to
Mm,
Ina, and trust me, she's got the tools and the heart to help you
mm.
make
Yeah, I definitely have the heart. Yeah. So
real
I mean,
life.
any emotional health really. Yeah. You know, I'm good with. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
And if you've enjoyed this
Uh,
episode, please share it with a friend who might be going through
hmm.
stuff and they might not know who to reach out to. And as you know, stay tuned for more insightful episodes on the Online Prosperity Show like this. Until next time,
Yeah.
bye for now.